So, I've just been watching these overpaid fuckers over in Westminster, Babylon, and I have watched Jeremy Hunt. Not really a slip of the tongue, he is a cunt, but we're watching Jeremy Hunt's spring budget and the proposed announcement of a new tax levy on vaping, which will happen in October of 2026. Let's have a look at what the government website is now currently saying about this proposed tax levy. Remember how I said during one of the previous special WhatsApps about the two words that popped up, non-nicotine, and some of you idiots out there, including some people in the industry itself, oh, that's doing nothing but scaremongering. Go fuck yourself. Again, I'm right, you're wrong. Tier 1 non-nicotine liquids, £1 per 10ml for nicotine-free liquids. Joe Bloggs walks in to the local VPZ shop and gets their favourite 100ml bottle of Riot Squad in September of 2026. He will be paying, roughly speaking, for the mid-tier Riot Squad liquids round about £10 for that bottle. Come October of 2026, it's now doubled in price. Literally doubled in price. Yeah, my WhatsApp and Facebook's going nuts right now. Joe Bloggs walks in to the local VPZ shop and buys the cheaper end of the short fill market. The white label brands that you see in VPZ shelves all the time. 50ml short fill bottle, non-nicotine. They're probably going to pay £6.99. 50ml bottle. £1 per 10ml. Add £5 to that. You're now paying £11.99. Essentially doubling the price. This is essentially what the non-nicotine clause is now doing. This £1 per 10ml on nicotine-free bottles is essentially, in some cases, doubling the price of the liquid, in other cases, close to doubling the price of the liquid. In other words, you look at fluid, for instance, the higher end, well, not the higher end, the more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not artisan, but you know, not your run-of-the-mill flavour, right? So it's not your run-of-the-mill flavours. It's the more intense flavours, the more complex flavours that generally tend to see those short fill bottles anywhere between £13, or in the case of fluid, £14. For some it's £15.99, and for some out there it's £18.99 for those 100ml short fills. You slap a tenner on that, you're now going to be paying £24.99 for a bottle of fluid. £28.99 for some of the even more expensive 100ml short fill liquids out there. Now I know what some of you are saying, oh well, it doesn't matter, Vic, we'll just go to long fills instead. Long fills will sort the problem out. But this is where the government shut the loophole on the long fills, because we've still got tier 2 and more especially tier 3 to look at. Tier 2, £2 per 10ml on liquids that contain approximately the same or less nicotine per ml than an average cigarette. 0.1 to 10.9 milligrams. So in other words, if you walk into your VPZ shop and you buy 3 milligrams, 6 milligram, 9 milligram TPD compliant 10ml bottles, you're going to have an extra £2 slapped on top of that. Tier 3 is where it not only affects long fills, 18mg, 16mg TPD compliant 10ml bottle vapors, or short fill users. Tier 3, £3 per 10ml on liquids that contain roughly more nicotine per ml than an average cigarette, 11mg or more per milliliter. So your 16mg, 18mg or 20mg TPD compliant bottles, or your 18mg Nick Shot bottles, yeah, you can add an extra £3 per bottle on top of that. So, you're Joe Bloggs. You walk in to your local VPZ shop in October. So not only has your £10 bottle of Riot Squad is now £20. Now, the two Nick Shots that used to be £2 for both bottles, well, it's now increased. It's not just £1. because £3 tax has been put on top of each bottle, so you're now paying £8 for your 2 Nick Shot bottles on top of the £20 for your Riot Squad Shortfill. That comes to £28, more than the cost of a pack of cigarettes. This time, roughly 2.5 weeks ago, when I first hinted at the fact that there could be a tax coming, certain people in the industry were giving it, "Oh, Vic's doing nothing but scaremongering. He doesn't know what he's..." Fuck you. Fuck you. In fact, fuck you so much, you pricks shouldn't be in the fucking industry now, because you obviously don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. You're in the industry, and you're burying your head in the sand. But now we're here. We're here. At this stage in time, looking at a tax levy that's going to be instituted in the vaping industry in October of 2026. There is no legislation round this. There is no way round this. In fact, the only vapers who will not be affected by this tax are DIYers who vape 0 milligram. You go down the road of long fill, you will not be paying the tax on the long fill itself, but you will be paying the tax on the nicotine that you're dumping into the bottle. You're a short fill user. By October of 2026, you will essentially be priced out of the market, which will force you to the long fill method. And I know that there's going to be certain individuals who run certain liquid manufacturing companies here in the UK that's going to be rubbing their hands in glee because they're robbing cunts. But here's the thing, even if you switch to a long fill system, you still have to pay the tax on the nicotine. Doesn't matter what way you look at this, doesn't matter what angle you go down, you will have to pay tax unless, number one, you're a full DIYer, and number two, you vape 0 milligram. It's the only way round this. Literally the only way round it. When I made that what's up about those 2 words that appeared in the updated white paper that simply said non-nicotine, I knew, and several other people knew, that this is the road the government's now going to go down. Is there a way to stop this? There's no way to stop the October 2026 threshold. That's now been set in stone by the government. It's going to happen whether it's Labour or whether it's the Tories. However, link in the description to a public consultation paper which opened just after the budget was announced. Big thanks to John Dunn from UKVIA, by the way, for letting me know about the public consultation. And what the public consultation essentially is, like the previous public consultation, it's asking questions about the tax levy system that the government's currently got on proposal. This is going to take the industry, shop owners, liquid manufacturers, and the general vaping public to get involved in this. Let them know, as a general vaper, that your £10 on a bottle of 100ml short fill would basically make this more expensive than a pack of cigarettes, and this doesn't even contain nicotine. Let them know, if you're a pod user buying your 3 bottles of TPD legal requirement liquids, like let's say your VPZ house liquids, with the extra £3 slapped on each bottle, that you're now having to pay an extra £9 to get those 3 bottles every week. You're going to be looking at the total price of that and saying, hold on a minute, these 3 bottles of TPD legal compliant liquid is now over 20 quid. Now, hold on, how much does VPZ charge for their 10 mils? I think it's £4, £3.50, £4. It has been a while since I've looked at VPZ's prices, but you're going to be looking at a general everyday pod user who even go to, let's scrap the 3 bottles. Let's look at it from a 2 bottle perspective. They're walking into their local VPZ shop every Monday and buying 2 bottles of TPD compliant liquid at 18 milligram. That's £6 tax extra slapped on top of those 2 bottles, which brings their liquids to round about the same price, and in some cases, depending on the liquids that they buy, more than a pack of 20 cigarettes. when it comes to short fill users, if the current plans are put in place in October of 2026, this market is dead. The market's dead for short fills. Nobody's going to pay over 20 quid. Over 20 quid for a 100ml short fill, which means we shift over to long fills. But it doesn't matter if we shift over to long fills with the amount of nicotine that's needed to bring up a 100ml long fill bottle to 3mg or 6mg. You're going to be paying a shitload of tax on top of the nicotine shots that you get from your local vape shop. So again, doesn't matter what way you look at this, doesn't matter what angle you look at it from, the only way you can save money and the only way you're not going to be paying extra tax is if you're a DIYer and you're a 0mg vapor at the same time. That's it. That's the only loophole that's left. It's the only one that's left. Simple as that. Switching to long fills, they'll still get you in the nicotine tax. Sticking with short fills, you will pay the extra tax on top of the short fills, along with the extra nicotine tax on top of that. Yeah. Those two words, non-nicotine, shut down the loopholes. It shut down the loopholes completely. Even if you go down the road of the long fill system, they still get you with the nicotine tax. Again, public consultation down there. The website just opened. If enough of the industry basically turns round to the UK government and says, hey, not only are you basically going to obliterate the short fill market and completely make it redundant, you're going to be pricing millions of vapors. Now we're talking about the vast bulk of the 4.2 million vapors out there that are using general pod kits. You're going to be pricing them to such an extent that some of them will end up going back to smoking because it will end up being cheaper in the long run. It will end up being cheaper even with the proposed one-off tax hike that Jeremy Hunt announced, that some newspapers are saying it will bring the price of cigarettes to above £16 for the mid-range end cigarettes like your Regals and stuff like that. The fact is, your short fill bottles are still going to be more expensive than a 20 pack of cigarettes. Doesn't matter. They're still going to be more expensive than a 20 pack of cigarettes. Link is in the description. And once again, all you morons out there that kept saying over the past month or so that I'm doing nothing but scaremongering, again, I'm right, you're wrong. Why are you still in the industry? No, seriously, why are you still in the industry? If you've been burying your head in the sand so much, you denied there's going to be some kind of tax issue happening within the next 2 or 3 weeks. The tax issue pops up, and some of you are now on Facebook saying, oh, well, that doesn't matter if short fills go away. Buy our long fills. You money-grabbing asshole. Seriously, you fucking money-grabbing asshole. Doesn't matter if your short fill is tax exempt because it's only flavourings at the base of the bottle. What about your customer base that has to pay an exponentially large increase and nicotine tax for your long fill? Are you still going to give away those £1 bottles of nicotine shots for your long fills? No, you're not. You're going to start charging people for those little 10ml bottles of 18mg freebase. You're going to start charging people. So don't turn around and say, oh, well, it doesn't matter about short fills. Switch to long fills. Go fuck yourself. Really, go fuck yourself. You money-grabbing cunts. Because that's really what you are. Money-grabbing cunts. Trying to misdirect people away from short fills to buy your particular long fills that your sites sell, knowing that you're still going to get them with the nicotine tax on the not in the short fills, on the nicotine shots that you sell on your website. You money-grabbing assholes. Seriously, money-grabbing assholes. This is going to take intense pressure from the public consultation, from the industry, from the general vapors, from the vape shops, to try at least to put some kind of pressure on the current government and on any future government that may get elected after October of this year to lessen the tax burden on vaping. If they were to cut the current tax estimates in half, 50 pence per per 10ml non-nicotine. £1.50 per 18mg nic shot instead of £3. Yes, prices would still increase, but they would not increase to the point that this costs more than a pack of cigarettes. Yeah. Anyway, that is basically it for me for this What's Up special. Again, the link to the public consultation website is down there in the description. Tomorrow on the UK Vape Show, John Dunn from UKVIA and Robert Sidebottom from Arcus Compliance is going to be joining us, both of them at the same time as guests on the UK Vape Show. So with the current budget announcements, tomorrow's show is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. As always, thanks for watching and have a good one.